Because if there is one thing about me, I've quit everything I've ever done. I wish I was kidding, but I really do think I've quit everything I've done. But sometimes you circle back. Hi, and welcome back to Running Rants with Helen. As always, I'm Helen, and this is where I rant and talk about whatever I want. I'm back home in Truckee, and a lot of the snow is melted, but I don't know, some trails go, but not enough yet for the Jacob on his little thing. So we're on the bike path, and I just got back from like Palm Desert, Palm Springs area. I got to do a lot of running, which is fun because April is trail running season, and I'm a little sore. I guess that's what happens when you run downhill like 15,000 feet in 4 days, and you haven't really been doing that. Uphill was fine, and I feel like that's probably from the skiing. It's April, and we're coming up on the 5-year anniversary of when I unquit running. And so I just kind of wanted to talk about that. And I've talked about it a little bit in other videos of like why I quit and then why I started running again. But I think I just wanted to make a video fully on that because I feel like it's had a big impact on how I view running now. I guess if you don't know, I'll go back to the reason why I quit. I ran in like high school, in college, and then like, I guess I've like kind of already talked about this, but I feel like I have to go back to that again of like why I quit. And like, so I ran in college, but generally I like was not that stoked on it. I was like hurt all the time and just burnt out, and I don't think I had the best coach, but I don't think that's like all of it. I think it's just like kind of the NCAA system in general that's the problem. But I ended up quitting on the bus ride home from conference from, I think we're in Ogden, Utah. Is that right? I don't know, we were somewhere in Utah. And then we were driving home and I quit my junior year. And then I was still like kind of running. And then I ran a 50K in August, like right after my 22nd birthday. I think it was like the day after, the day before. And then I moved to Truckee and I just kind of stopped running. And I think part of the reason why I fell out of love with it in college is just because I had like my ego wrapped up in it. Like I felt like I had to run to like prove that I was good at it. But then like that's not a good reason. And we just like ran in the same places. And I feel like part of the reason why I love running so much is like all of the new places I get to run and like going off trail and all the fun parts of it, which I feel like I kind of had in high school. And honestly, like I moved to Truckee and like training for that 50K was fine. I was still running in a lot of the same places, but it was all good. But then after, like, I just like felt bad running and I wasn't used to that. And I wasn't like, I guess I was like used to feeling tired, but like not to that extent. And I think it just like reminded me of college running, like running when it feels really bad and when you're tired and you don't really want to and it feels like you have to. And so I like kind of took a break, and then I moved to Truckee and I just honestly didn't really know where to run. I like kept running on the same dirt road. I like lived on Donner Lake, so I ran over there a lot. I think I just was like, I want to be a casual runner. And when I say casual, I meant like, oh sorry, there's a hill. And when I say casual runner, I mean like, I want to run like 10 miles a week kind of situation. Like a few miles, 2 to 3 days. And it's just like, not the main focus of my life. It's just like sometimes I do this thing. But I think through that, I kind of realized with me and running, and even still at this point in my life, it's like kind of all or nothing. And I didn't want it to be all, so I went to nothing. And it was like a pretty big winter, and I don't like running in the winter that much anyways. And so I just kind of stopped. I honestly didn't really think I'd run again. Or if I did, like, I thought it'd be a lot further down the line. So it was like, October. And then I think I tried running again, like the next August. I remember texting Rick, and I think I ran for like 3 or 4 weeks. I maybe got up to running like 9 miles, but then I had a lot of jobs at that point, and I think my schedule had changed, and I was like, it's too hard. I'm not gonna run anymore. So then I stopped again. I guess like I was saying, like in college, I feel like I really tied my identity to running, and that's like a big part of who I thought I was. And I didn't really I don't think fully understood like who I was without it. And that's why like I feel like I was holding on to it so tightly, even like throughout college when it wasn't fun and I was hurt and I didn't like it. It was because like I tied it to like who I was, so then I didn't know what to do without it. And so I feel like this break was really good for me. And like the whole reason why I ran in college, like I said, was just because I felt like I had to prove to everyone else that I was good at it. Once again, not a good reason. But I don't think I realized that when I did it, because I don't know, I was like 17. I was 17 when I decided to run in college. So I don't think I really like recognized that like the way that I see it now. But then it's also like, yeah, no shit, I was hurt if like my intentions with running weren't really aligned with what I truly value in life. And now I feel like they are. And I feel like I have a much healthier relationship with it because I know who I am without running, and I could quit tomorrow and it'll still be me, because the things that make me me aren't the activities that I do. But I think that running like allows me to show up better in my life and be a good version of me. But I think I could still be a good version of me without running. So then I didn't run. I guess it was like a year and a half, almost 2 years, because it was April, like mid-April I started running again. So next week, when this video comes out, it'll be during that week before the next one does. And I remember like texting Rick and being like, I don't know what to do, because all the yoga studios closed because of COVID. I was like, I'm gonna lose it if I like don't get my wiggles out somehow. And so I thought, oh, running could be good, because you can do that like alone in the woods and not in a room of 30 to 40 other who are all breathing. So I did a lot of run walks. So many run walks. And I feel like maybe a lot of people are like, well, when you started running, like, why would you get a coach right away anyways? And honestly, I feel like it stopped me from doing too much too soon, because I was used to like all of the college stuff, and I was like, okay, well, if I'm not gonna do this like my 2 to 3 miles a week, or 2 to 3 miles like 3 days a week, then like I want to run all of it. And I shouldn't have started running like 6 miles every day just because I wanted to. I feel like that is just a really easy way to get injured when you're getting back into it, especially like not even because you're out of shape necessarily. It's like all of your tendons and ligaments and like your ankles and knees just aren't used to that kind of impact, or at least mine weren't for like the last year and a half. And so I feel like, I don't know, I feel like Rick helped me keep it under control, and so many run walks. But also I was so out of shape. I remember like thinking I was going to throw up every time I ran because I was breathing so hard. But But I feel like it was good for me too, because since then I feel like I took some time off, like between when I quit college running and when I was running again. But other than that, since like the time I was in 8th grade, I hadn't taken off more than probably like 2 weeks. And so even though like maybe you think you feel out of shape, you're actually not. So I feel like it was a very eye-opening experience of like, oh, this is why people hate running, because it sucks. And then I feel like, honestly, if I didn't know that it would get better, I don't know why anyone would stick with it. I feel like if I'm just gonna feel like I'm gonna throw up every single time I run for literally 3 minutes, like that doesn't feel like a good time. But I actually remember my last walk was run for 9 minutes, walk for 1. And I do still remember really looking forward to that 1 minute. I was like, oh, thank God. But I feel like that was a little bit of like an easier transition back into it. And then that's kind of when, I don't know, actually like Jacob and I were talking about this not that long ago, because it's weird to like have such conflicting thoughts about an experience or like about a person, because I started hanging out with this guy and like that's like the whole reason why I ever ran up like the first mountain I ran up, or like some of the other really cool running experiences that I feel like helped me re-fall in love with it and like completely changed my outlook on running, because that's like how I realized, oh, you can walk, you get to bring snacks, it's like about the cool places you go, you don't have to run 7:30 pace all the time. But also that boy was really mean to me, and so it's like I'm really thankful for that experience, and like I'm not mad about it anymore, but like it was also a pretty hurtful experience, and I think it probably did a lot of damage to me too. But on the other side of that, I don't know that I'd have the same relationship with running that I do now, which I think is like pretty healthy. I mean, sometimes I use running to make me feel better, but other than that, I would say I have a pretty good like balance on it. Yeah, and then I feel like that summer was like when I really started running again, but it was kind of just to like hang out with the people that I was around at that point. And I think because like I don't really think any of those people that I was running with like really do races or like are very competitive with their running, and so I feel like that was super healthy for me too. And I think it was really good that since like because of COVID there were not any races, because I feel like, I don't know, I'm just like so competitive that I feel like I probably would have wanted to sign up for a race and I probably would have gotten my ass completely handed to me. And I think honestly I probably would have had a really hard time with that, like coming back and thinking that like, oh, okay, I am good at this. And so I think like having that whole first year of like literally just running and having fun with it. I mean, racing, don't get me wrong, like racing is so much fun, but I think it also like can add a little bit of pressure, which I don't think is bad, but I don't think I could have handled it then like within the like mental space I was in with my running. And honestly, at that point, like I didn't even really think I was going to race again. I think it was just like, oh, this is fun, I get to run to the top of stuff. But then I think somewhere through there, like that year on my birthday, I ran from Tuolumne Meadows to Yosemite Valley, and it's like 30 miles maybe. And I mean, I was running a decent amount that summer. I don't really remember what I did that winter. I can't imagine I ran much. I honestly don't remember. But then like the next summer, I mean, Rick was still coaching me through all of this, and I was running a decent amount again, and so I thought it would be nice to like have a little bit more direction with my training of like, not because it's pointless, because I think I would still be running that much anyways, but it's like nice to have goals with races, and like they're fun. And then I feel like it's also like the community parts of it. And so 2021 I started racing again. I think I ran 4 races. Greenhorn Ranch 25K, and that was really fun. And then it was the year that Broken Arrow got moved to October, which I talked about in my yoga video. But yeah, that was 2021. Yeah, and so that was the year I got second. No, I ran 100K the first year I started racing again. Yeah, I did. Huh. But another good point for Rick is I remember I signed up for Castle Peak 100K, which was my first 100K. I ran that in August, and then I remember like wanting to sign up for 100K like 4 weeks later. Rick was like, no. So I'm glad that he was there to tell me no, because I would have had to learn the hard way. I guess all of this is to say, like, I guess going back to the identity thing, like, it's interesting because I feel like running is a big part of who I am and what I enjoy doing. But I think it's good that I know who I am without it. And I don't think I would have ever found that if I didn't have my time without it. And like, I think it's interesting to like, I guess it's a good point to just remember that what you do and what you like to do can change, and what makes you happy can change. Because at one point, like, running was something that I loved the most, and then I didn't love it, and now I would say I love it the most again. And maybe at some point I won't love it the most anymore. And I hope that like it's not so tied up in like my identity and ego, if that point ever comes, that like I won't quit. Because if there is one thing about me, I've quit everything I've ever done. I wish I was kidding, but I really do think I've quit everything I've done. But sometimes you circle back. But I guess in the end, if it's not fun, if you don't like it, don't do it. Sometimes I guess I wish I could do running casually, but it doesn't really work that well. And now it's my career.
So when you were talking about getting back into running, and Rick had you doing run walks, you talked about that last run walk and how much you look forward to the 1 minute walk. Like you also mentioned, like you think a lot of people get to that point and it's still hard, and so they stop doing it. So like what motivated you to keep trying during that time when you felt out of shape and when you felt like maybe you weren't making much progress?
Well, I think it's because I know it gets better, right? Like, I hadn't ever taken off that much time before, but even with that, like, it doesn't just go away. Like, I don't know. It's like all my training for Tarawera. I did it, I raced, but like, and then I didn't really run that much, but like that fitness is still there. Like, it's an accumulation of your lifetime miles. And so I think it probably took me less time to like get back in running shape than it would someone who's never run and just started. But yeah, I think it was just like knowing, okay, at some point I'm not going to feel like I'm throwing up because I'm wheezing. I mean, sometimes I still wheeze, but it's a little different, and I can run without wheezing. Yeah, I think it was just knowing, like, okay, it will get better, even though, like I said, I feel like it really just gave me some good perspective on why people say they hate running. And that's the other thing I don't get, is the people who are like, I hate running, but they're like, but I want to run. I don't get it. Because like find an activity you like doing that is maybe not so hard. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's like riding a bike. You can make that as hard as you want, but also I think it's a little bit easier.
Are there any kind of indicators for yourself that you found useful, like when you feel like maybe your identity is getting too wrapped up in running? Like, is there anything that historically you've noticed about yourself during those times or anything like that?
I think like it's okay. I've talked about this in other videos. Like, I think sometimes it's okay to push through the tired and like the I don't want to, but I can't continuously do that. And like sometimes, like Rick and I were just talking because I ran a lot this past weekend, especially compared to what I was doing. I think I ran like, I don't know, 50 something miles in like 11 and a half hours in the span of like 4 days. And before that, I feel like some of my weeks were like, okay, she ran like 30 to 40 miles. And I think that's okay because I think I just like, sometimes I need to like recalibrate and be like, this isn't fun, this kind of sucks. And I know like I feel so privileged in this, like I got to go somewhere warm and go run in the mountains for 4 days. And I understand not everyone can do that, but also this isn't everyone's job and I can do that. And so I feel like that historically has like been good for me to like go somewhere warm when like things aren't quite melted here and like just have a little bit of like a vibe check reset, because I had so much fun. Like there were just like multiple times when I was running where like it felt so good and like I wanted to cry because I was like so happy and because I love jogging so much. And I feel like when you get put in those positions of where like, you know, like everything around you is great in like those situations, but you still feel like F this, then like maybe that's when I have to kind of take a look at it, which is what happened in France. I was like, who cares? Who cares that it's beautiful and I buy all these mountains? This sucks. And that's when I knew I needed a vibe check.
What's a vibe check look like for you?
I think just recognize, like thinking about like why you're doing something and like, is it because you feel like you have to or you should, or is it because you want to? And are the decisions you're making aligned with what you value and like the kind of person you want to be? I think that. Also, because I'm sure everyone is so curious and really cares a lot, I'm currently running in the Clifton 10. I got home and they were mailed to me. This is my first time running in them. You know, I was looking at the Clifton 9s compared to these. I feel like the stack height in the 10 is bigger. And also they have an 8 mil drop. And I don't even know the last time I ran in a shoe that like had that high of a drop. But I feel like when I first started running in Hoka's, you like really always notice like the rocker. And I feel like I stopped noticing that. But I feel like I really feel the smooth transition from heel to toe. I also like that they're blue. This has been another episode of Running Rants with Helen. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.